What is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 218. I am your host, Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
What's up, people? Love isn't always on time.
Carlos Romero.
Yo. I didn't get a notification for Twitch, but hopefully we're streaming right now.
Hopefully. Brian Manjoma.
Hey, people.
And joining us once again, Mr. Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
How you doing, man?
Doing better, thank you.
All right. Yeah, we're live. Barry Burns already throwing the Torrance face. So that's how you know. Yeah. Today we kind of did we just jumped in. We didn't do our little Street Fighter intro.
Oh,
more because I forgot. But what are you gonna do? But we're here. We're clear. We don't want any more bears. Get my shit set up here. So yeah, we didn't get a lot of questions. So hopefully you guys will ask us some stuff during the course of this. Also, remember, and I need to really drill this into my head. I need to start saying this shit at the top of the show. If you have any questions for us for next week's show, if you're watching us, on YouTube or on Twitch later, go over to our YouTube channel, Throwdown Show, and ask us questions in whatever the latest episode of Throwdown Questions is. And if you're joining us live now, ask us questions. All right, so let's start off with something we were kind of talking about, Resident Evil 2. So this is from our boy All Day Digital. So he goes, he's like, man, I have been playing Resident Evil 2, and I have to say it is truly bringing back vibes of what made me fall in love with the franchise. So my question to you is, what exactly did they get right with this title? Everything, basically.
yeah. It's a funny sort of thing. It's like it's a redo, but it's also like it takes a lot of the things that you remember and kind of reconfigures them around and kind of smooths things out. Makes the the police station a lot bigger now. So it's really well done. Like they definitely were being very respectful to the original, while also again giving you the things that you remember.
Yeah, to me, it feels like what Resident Evil 2 would be like if it's a brand new title in 2019. Mm-hmm. and yeah, you're right. It hits all those notes, like the old stuff, and then the mixture of the new as well. Because even though it's a remake of the old game, it still has a lot of new stuff in it, or like you said, just changes things around just enough to keep it fresh, but it still keeps the spirit of the original, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, and there's some areas that are just totally new sections of the game. Like there's some stuff in Claire's game that's like, whoa, that never happened.
Yeah, but it's cool, man. Like this thing is so good. I know they just released the HD version of the GameCube version of Resident Evil 1 a couple years ago. I want them to do that to Resident Evil 1. What they did with this game, do that to Resident Evil 1. Imagine that. That'd be fucking crazy. Because to me, they've taken the best aspects of Resident Evil in general. Like you have the camera angle and the controls of 4, but you have the graphics of 7. And then of course it's taking it back to basics. So it's still a horror game. You can't just go around shooting everything. You do that, you're gonna run out of ammo real quick.
I think also the fact that they kind of turned one of the things about the original games is that the claustrophobia that you felt, at least from the way the angles were, now it's actually the flashlight that does that, where it kind of squeezes in everything because you only really can see a certain amount inside of the where your flashlight's hitting. Yeah, there's a lot more darker areas in it. Like in original Resident Evil 2, all the background, like most of the game was fairly bright. The darkest place that you went was actually when you started going into the sewers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was checking out something that the developer said. They said that basically some of the challenges they had with the game was trying to make zombies scary, because zombies are not scary anymore. We've had them in media forever, Like back in the day when Resident Evil 2 and 1 came out, zombies were very scary in a video game. You never had zombies like that in the game. Now they're everywhere. So they said that was a challenge. And also, like you said, trying to, because hi Jossie. Basically, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, they try to, they did a lot of stuff. So yeah, it's awesome. To me, it's the gold standard of, how to do a remake. Like Shadow Colossus was a good one, but to me, that's just making what was already there, enhancing it. This is like, we're gonna do everything from scratch. There's no original code in this bitch. This is the original stuff. Oh, now I remember what I was gonna say. Basically, since the camera's always behind you, it's hard to hide things. So that was also a challenge they faced. Like, how do we scare people with a surprise around the corner because they could see everything now, And I think they did a good job of it, I think they did an excellent job, actually.
Because the police station's more like a horror house now. Like bodies fall from the ceiling and things crash through the windows, and they did a really good job. When the lickers come out, like those guys, it's really scary. You can't tell where they're coming from. They move really fast, much faster than the old game.
Yeah, for sure. And then, the whole thing with Mr. X, but a lot of people are finding out about Mr. X for the first time. Man, like, Chris, I don't know if you played with, like, your headphones on. You hear this motherfucker. It's like,
Also,
stomping around.
Also, one little caveat: if you guys are playing with the headphones, switch it to the headphone mode, because it's the same sort of the way they recorded the sound in it. It's that kind of surrounding sound thing that they did in Hellblade, so it actually makes it kind of more interesting.
Nice.
Yeah. Also, like, I'm playing it with surround sound, and man, it's like so like it's perfect the way like the sound comes in, and it's super fucking scary when like something just appears out of nowhere, or like you hear like you think you're walking on a corridor and you think you're like good, and then you just hear something like rumbling around, and like, god damn, like, man, it gets me every time.
Yeah, and the game always does that. Resident Evil 7 did that too. Even if there's nothing going on, you always hear something. It's like, fuck, it keeps you on edge. But to me, it keeps you on edge, but not too much. Not too much. Like with Resident Evil 7, I could never play a game more than an hour. It's just too fucking much. This one, it gives you enough. Like, I could play for a bunch of hours and not be like, oh god, I need to stop now.
Yeah, it doesn't have the immersion factor that 7
Or
did.
see, you play yesterday with friggin' Claire. You're like running down the hallway. You're like, ah.
Yeah, man, that shit is crazy. I abuse the fuck out of that save room. Use those save rooms, people. Speedrunners are already beating it in a little over an hour. Yeah, I remember that was a big thing about the old Resident Evil games too. Like, how fast can you beat this? But to me, I don't want to, beat it fast. I just want to play it, have fun. Even though playing it fast could be fun too. Don't want to say that's not.
That was in the original game where you used to the Japanese were always going through the game with a knife and shit. Stuff like that. Like those extra challenges. Why not?
Yeah.
But then
awesome.
obviously now then that starts to, hopefully that doesn't start the stupid conversation. Oh, you can beat the game in an hour, like the way they did with a bunch of other games.
It's kind of silly. All right, so let's move on. And now that we have more of you guys in the room, we didn't get a lot of questions this week. So if you want to ask us anything video game related, please feel free to throw them into the chat there, and we're gonna answer them. It'll be crazy. Yes, Claire's game is way fucking harder. Way harder, man. There's something about Redfields. Their games are always the hardest, It's interesting. All right, let's move on here. G Megaforce 123, man, asking us some very long questions here. So his first one is, will we ever see a new major genre anytime soon? By major genre, I'm referring to something that fundamentally changes the way we play / engage with games. Example, platforming versus fighting versus shooter versus MOBA. Rather than genre variants like action or battle royale, genre variants involve you engaging with a genre in a different ways, but you're still using the core mechanics of a first person or platformer, for example. I can't recall any new major genre conceived in the last few generations. The closest thing might be digital trading card games, ? So yeah, will we ever see a new genre in gaming?
No, digital. I want to say that one thing about digital trading card games. Those games have been around forever too. There's plenty of older games that that nobody really remembers. That
such as.
I mean, there was an old Magic the Gathering. There's the friggin' Eye of Judgment game, which was the
Eye of Judgment, yeah.
The game that where essentially you put the cards down in front of the PlayStation Eye and they come to life, which is not a new. It's also not a new idea too, because a lot of those other games do that as well. So it's like, I mean, I don't know how many new genres. I mean, they're going to be like. I mean, to be honest, walking simulator actually is kind of a new genre.
That's a new genre. Yeah, that's a new genre.
Those haven't existed before then. But then again, would you call Myst one? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good. Well, no, in Myst you solve puzzles, so that
Yeah, you
doesn't
solve
count.
puzzles in
Yeah,
Myst.
yeah.
Puzzles.
Yeah, walking simulator. I think that would qualify as a new genre, but I think in general it'll be hard to, just because like how many new genres have you seen in other medium? You really haven't seen new genres, you know.
No, I mean everything kind of follows the same sort of things. It's it's a this, it's a that. It's kind of genres kind of based off of things. I mean, to be honest, a new genre would have to come from a new sort of a new way of interacting.
Yes, new technology, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe VR.
Yeah,
Hey,
maybe
it's
VR,
possible.
but I mean, even in situations to VR, it's kind of like an assistant to a genre that already
Yeah.
exists.
Yeah.
Beat Saber. Granted, it's a new type of game, right? Where you're essentially using your thing to kind of do that stuff, but at the same time, it's made of things that have already existed. It's a rhythm game,
Yeah. Barry says survival dance cooking. But even then, that's like a mishmash, you know?
Yeah. So I mean, if anything, the new genres are just going to be kind of combinations of different other genres. Here's a fun one. I mean, well, then again, you've seen this, or like, I don't know. There's not many horror old school RPGs. I guess the only one that it fits that genre is Parasite Eve.
Yeah. But yeah, I think as far as like a brand new, we've never seen this before genre, I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, yeah, and also because you can always make you can always say that whichever new genre that comes out pretty much was based on something. Like MOBA, for example. That does, like, to me, MOBA isn't really that much of a new genre because it's like it doesn't really do anything new. Kind of like battle royale shooters. Like, they're just shooting games. They're like third-person shooters, just with a different objective. So it's.
Yeah, Glorious War says something interesting. He says play create share genre is kind of new.
I mean,
I can't really disagree with that.
I mean, yeah, I mean, a game that specifically targets you making your own things. Yeah, I mean, Little Big Planet, those, Minecraft, stuff
Creating
like
it
that.
and sharing it, that's the key. Create, play, share.
What about Mario Paint?
Mario Paint,
you couldn't share it.
You couldn't share
it. It was essentially, Mario Paint was an art program.
It was an art. Yeah, it was an art program. Mario Maker also falls into the category of create, play, share. I would. Yeah, that's new enough. I would say that. So we got that. So because he said generations, I'm like, dude, okay. Last generation we had create, play, share, and walking simulator. So there's two new genres. Here's the thing. I'm pretty sure maybe somebody will come up with something. I just can't conceive of it because I'm not that creative.
Yeah.
If I could think of a new genre, I'd be making money right now. It's interesting. Anybody else want to chime in on this? Brian, what do you say? Mr. Monjomo.
I'm thinking.
Just thinking. It's hard, right? No, I'm not asking you to think of a new genre. Just like, do you think we'll ever see a new one?
I don't know. I'm highly doubtful. As long as people keep pumping out games that are just derivative of each other. But again, if people just like that, then they just keep pumping out that. So I say no.
Can we say Dark Souls is a genre by the fact that so many people just say that this is a Dark Souls game?
Yeah, no.
Stupid. Yeah, it's ridiculous. What was it? Somebody said, Ace Combat 7 is the Dark Souls of fine games. They actually said that, and they were sincere. Because, oh my god,
No, it's like
that was IGN, by the way. That was the other snafu they caught themselves in this week. Because they said the game is too difficult. It's like, yeah, that's why people like those games. They like Ace Combat is supposed to be hard.
By the way, Black Metal Gamer says, "I want Dark Souls Battle Royale."
Oh,
That'd be interesting.
No, fuck that.
But I mean, Ace Combat games were never supposed to be easy. They were supposed to be those like kind of more difficult sorts of games. But I think it's an interesting thing when it comes to those guys.
Yeah, Violence Embassy says Dark Souls is code for hard. Yes, but again, why isn't Ghouls and Ghosts code for hard? That game was
because it's not in the zeitgeist, man. You got to realize that most of the people that the younger cats right now, that's their fucking Ghouls and Ghosts.
Well,
and how do you communicate to people that are wouldn't know what Ghouls and Ghosts is?
Well,
you use the zeitgeist thing. You use Dark Souls.
that's the issue though. Like a lot of the fault lies upon a lot of writers because they don't have sort of the vernacular to come up with another word for hard, so they just say Dark Souls.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Remember,
And let's just be honest, a lot of these writers are like, in their mid or early, mid 20s, early 30s. They probably started gaming in the 360 era. They don't know about the past,
Well, I mean,
I honestly believe that, by the way. I think a lot of these writers, like, you guys were not gaming before the 360, were you? With some of the shit they say, it's like, what?
Well, if you look at it, because if the 32-bit era to the 100, to later on, that's the era, where there was the shift, where all those guys that those guys that are around our age or a little bit older were like making games, and they're like, man, these fucking games are so goddamn hard when we were young. Let's make them a little bit more, a little easier, and kind of readjusted the difficulty. So then now, at that point, everything became kind of like it was slightly difficult,
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. Going back to Resident Evil, this is the first time, in a while, or since Dark Souls, I hate to say that, but it's true, where I'm playing this game, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this. And the reason I bring that up is because when you play a game nowadays, you can finish that shit. If you keep playing, for a fact you're going to finish it. That challenge isn't there anymore. And it's funny because I remember reading about that maybe 10 years ago or even before that, where it was some developer, I forgot who it was, a Japanese developer, and they were like, we put all this work into these games. We put, these crazy stories and stuff. We put all this work in, and we want people to finish them. So that shift definitely happened. So yeah, I guess for better or worse, Dark Souls is code for hard.
Yeah, which is kind of sad. It's like, why is that the bar? You know what I mean?
It's the bar because these guys are too young. And here's the thing: I don't want to take anything away from Dark Souls. That's a good bar. That's a good bar to have. But it's like, guys, come on. We've had other games. By the way, this is different genre, but it's the whole thing was like some of these writers are too young. Somebody was talking about some Spider-Man costumes in the video game, I believe it was, right? Or Spider-Verse. I don't know where the fuck it was. The headline was literally, Spider-Man stealth costume has its roots in comics. And I'm like, Spider-Man has roots in comics. What the fuck are you talking about? What kind of a stupid headline is that?
His stealth costume has his roots in comics.
Like, where else is this shit gonna come from?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, guys, all the outfits in that game are mostly rooted in comics. With
all the characters in that game are rooted in comics. Fuck out of here. Yeah, stupid. So it's just stuff like, you guys are too fucking young, man. No perspective whatsoever.
And it's such a weird sort of thing because it's like none of these people even go back and look at it. They don't look at look at it to see that the things that they're saying are right. You know what I mean? Like it's all based on just based on a kind of a titular knowledge of it. A light knowledge of maybe it came from comics at some point, as opposed to going in and being like doing a little bit of the research and digging. It's all out there for you guys, so you just find out if these things existed before.
Here's something interesting. About a year ago, somebody wrote this essay. And I think it's a very good question. The question was basically, how can people be gaming journalists or gaming experts if they don't understand the full 40-year history of the genre, right? I think it's a good question. You know how much heat he got off of that? Oh, my God.
Wow.
People are like, oh, no.
Well, I mean, it's like, how can you? It's like, number one.
I think it's a fair question.
It's a fair question. Like, how can you be a film critic and not know anything about any of the movies that existed beforehand that led to the things that are out now?
Yeah. Imagine if you're a historian and you don't know anything before 1980.
Yeah.
It's like what?
It's like, the only films that you've ever saw were stuff from the 1980s and on.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about a historian. It's like humans just sprouted from the earth in 1980, with bell bottoms and shit. It's crazy.
I to be honest, I love those sorts of new things, new discoveries of finding things that I hadn't seen, even from back then, like even from before then. I like to look back and see where we came from, because if you don't looking back also kind of helps you with future things. So it's like, okay, if you let's say you do take on a genre from a previous era, right, of previous film or previous game, right? which like how all how like how all every single video independent company's doing a Metroidvania. Let's say somebody else decides, okay, I'm gonna go into the freaking Ghouls and Ghosts world, and we're doing Ghouls and Ghosts games now, classic platformer games without they're just straight through.
Yeah.
And that's just because people don't, like, in general, just don't go back to old games. Like, for example, like movies. Like, people watch Citizen Kane, like,
Oh
all the
yeah,
time.
because of just because of the plain fact of restoration, or
Yeah, it's
not
easy,
restoration.
it's access. It's
Yeah,
easier. It's
access.
easier to get your hands on an old movie than it is an old video game because of technology or whatever. But but again, yeah, we should have probably talked about it when it happened. But yeah, like this guy made a very good case. Like, why are these people going around calling themselves video game experts if they don't fully understand the 40-year history and really delve into it? Like, they can't answer basic shit. And I thought it was a good question, but certain journalists didn't like that. It was exclusive. It was excluding people. It's like, come on, guys.
No, number one, knowledge and learning something is not exclusion. If the information is out there, it's not exclusion. It's exclusion if you're keeping everything secret. That's exclusion.
Yeah, it's crazy.
If all of a sudden they decided to keep the last 10 20 years of video games under wraps for some odd reason, that's exclusion.
And this is maybe off topic, but it's still kind of on it. There was this guy, I'm not going to name him, who used to work for Torrance Davis, right? His whole deal was he refused to play games made before the PlayStation 2 era. How am I supposed to take you seriously?
Wow.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like, come on, how am I going to take you seriously? Like, if you're too young for that, okay, I could understand. But if you're supposed to be a gaming journalist, you got to know your shit, man. At least something, And I'm saying this, I don't know everything. I'm still trying to learn too,
Well,
go ahead.
Here's something interesting. Like, let's say, for example, the new Metal Gear comes out, like new Metal Gear Solid, and the reviewer or whoever's writing about it has never played that franchise. Do you think this person needs to go back to play the games, or just read up on them? Or
it depends on what kind of coverage he's going to do. And I'm going to use myself as an example. I'm going to write about Kingdom Hearts 3. I never played the genre, but I'm going to bring it at, with the whole, like, hey, I've never played these games. Can somebody like me enjoy it? So I'm coming at it like that, but I'm not coming at it as like, hey, I know this shit in and out. You shouldn't trust me on that,
And let me also add, as I also have to commend, Tony for his article a while ago about this. He did a preview on Kingdom Hearts, and he did his fucking research on the game. And he, presented it as a person that, yes, I've never been into the Kingdom Hearts series. I've never played them before, but I'm willing to be open to experience this thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the whole thing. But my whole thing is like, okay, people have been waiting literally their entire lives. I need to do my homework, and I need to pay this respect. And not for nothing, a lot of the Kingdom Hearts community, because basically my article got picked up by, the biggest Kingdom Hearts site out there, and they all loved it. They gave me a lot of props. But again, I'm coming at it from that way, but I'm not coming at it. Like, if I were to review the game, I think you should not take me too seriously, which is why I'm not doing a review for the game, because I haven't played the other ones. I don't have that history. So I don't know if that answers your question, Carlos, but that's how I see it, Like, if you're reviewing the latest Metal Gear, you better know your Metal Gears,
I would say
at least the solid games, at least. Like, I don't expect you to go back to MSX games, even though those are available too.
I would say, like, it wouldn't be a bad thing to, I feel like the way a lot of games are built these days, it does allow for newcomers to come in, but certain games are not. I don't think Kingdom Hearts 3 is kind of built that way.
I don't think it is either.
I don't think, just like Metal Gear Solid 4 was really kind of like, that was purely for the fans of the series,
Yeah, exactly. Yep, man, I'm telling you, it's crazy. All right, let's move on here. Where are we? Okay, this is an interesting one. Okay, will EA abandon AAA games outside of sports games? The way I'm seeing it is EA's output with their non-sports AAA games isn't in a good situation. Their AAA Star Wars games have been a disaster so far, either mediocre or canceled. BioWare's output isn't as great or successful as it used to be. DICE is also falling down. Their last 2 games gained a lot of controversy. I've also heard that Battlefield 5 isn't as successful as they wanted. DICE's Mirror's Edge 2 was also a failure. With only their sport AAA games, FIFA and Madden, and mobile games as their safe successes, it makes me feel that they will abandon non-sport AAA games in the near future. They're not abandoning their non-sport AAA games, bro. Not EA, man. That's where they make their money, or a good chunk of their money.
They make their money on the sports games.
Yeah.
But I think in general, everything is kind of down for EA.
Yeah,
You know
I understand.
Like,
I understand where he's coming from. I
yeah.
want to make that. I understand where you're coming from, but they're not going to stop doing these genres.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
they're
Chris.
not going to stop. They're looking for revenue generation across all this thing. That's why they licensed Star Wars, right? But they fucked up with that, so they may lose that license. But not that they didn't try to milk it for everything it was worth, right? And they're gonna go on Anthem. They need Anthem to be a success, obviously, but like they're not gonna just cut and go, okay, we're just EA Sports, right? And nothing else, because that's all that's making money. They'll license something else, they'll get something else, they'll shutter a studio, start another one, go in another direction, and to try to salvage whatever it is. Now, they'll move on. Watch, they'll give Battlefield a little breathing time because of the old bullshit, and then all of a sudden you'll have a Battlefield spinoff or whatever. And everyone will forget. They're hoping that everyone's fickle and will forget all the bullshit around Battlefield 5, and they'll move on.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. They're counting on people's forgettability, for lack of a better word. But yeah, they're not going to stop. I mean, yes, I understand their big money makers are the mobile games and the sports games, but they're not going to stop Battlefield 5. They're not going to stop Anthem. They're not going to stop doing stuff like that. I think that's pretty much it. I think we all agree on that one.
Yeah, there's nothing really more to say about EA with it.
Yeah. All right. We have another EA question from Cosby's Commissary Cookies. So he goes, if EA stopped gaming and stopped working, being in the industry, I guess, and sold their IPs, who would you want to acquire them? Would you like them to sell all their IPs to a single company, or sell each IP individually to different companies piece by piece? Hypothetical question here.
I mean, I would say but the funny thing about EA is there's so many IPs that they own, and that's the only in this from the last generation to this generation. We're not talking about any of the games that came beforehand from the Sega Genesis /3DO /16-bit 32-bit era. Those games.
Yeah.
So, I would say, ideally, I would like to see some of those franchises go to companies that really excel in creating those sorts of games. How awesome would it be if the Resident Evil team got Dead Space?
Oh shit!
Oh, wow.
The current
That'd be
Resident
insane.
Evil team.
Yeah, that'd be insane. Yeah, you're right about that. And didn't they have other games like Mercenaries? Was that EA?
I think so. That was I think Mercenaries was them,
Yeah,
or was that THQ? I can't remember.
I can't remember that. But I could be completely wrong on that one. Yeah, Jossie agrees.
Well, I wouldn't give, for example, the whole Star Wars franchise to one studio. I think that was Disney's biggest issue with this.
Yeah,
they should have just given different IPs to different developers. By giving EA the whole thing, it's just like if it failed, like the whole thing went down, and it's because they just sold they gave all their cards to one company. So I would, like, for example, another thing I would do is give the Madden franchise to Sega, because they did. I think they had one of their companies do 2K, and back in the day, 2K was probably the best football game.
I mean, 2K is still like the force to be reckoned with their sport games.
Yeah, NBA 2K, is still doing really well.
What other franchises does EA have?
But that's not. I don't know. I don't think that's Sega though.
No, 2K used to be the Sega's sports brand, but when the Dreamcast went by the wayside, they formed into their own company.
Okay.
Interesting.
So
Right.
they got
go ahead.
Madden, they got FIFA, which is a huge one. They got what else do they got?
Well, I would say, BioWare should just go completely independent.
Bio, yeah.
Yeah, I think they should just go independent. I don't want another company buying them up. Just go independent,
They should
yeah.
form like a group like them and Respawn and fucking and Bungie, man. They're like
Just
Oh
go rogue.
shit.
they're
Go
like
to Giant Rogue Studio.
developers anonymous, man. Like they
Yeah,
just
right.
have had issues with like other things in the past, and they're just trying to make it on their own.
Yeah, throw visceral games in there too,
Yeah. You want to hear something weird? Like a lot of the Twitter accounts for those closed studios are still exist, which is kind of funny. Visceral Games' Twitter account still exists and it reposts a bunch of stuff like from the previous developers.
I wonder who's in charge of that.
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, there's usually just one person who has the keys to the kingdom. So
Yeah, they're probably tweeting from home and shit, But I don't know. I can't think of any other EA IPs like Battlefield. Who you want to get that? I don't care enough about Battlefield though.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying. I don't think anybody here does.
I mean, I would say like the guys who do the guys who do Titanfall. I mean, they're their own studio.
Yeah,
aren't they?
Respawn, right?
Yeah, Respawn. And didn't they create one of those games?
Well,
Was it Battlefield?
They made Call of Duty.
They made Call of Duty. Yeah, why
Call
not
of Duty.
have them take that? Yeah.
That'd be interesting. Imagine that.
So
if-
like you would give because Respawn is part of like I
They're
don't know,
still
they're
part of
partnered-
EA. They're still part of EA though.
They're not really part of EA. They only make Titanfall for EA. They officially are their own studio. They're not a part
but
of
think
them,
about
though.
it. If you were to give Battlefield 5 to Respawn for the sake of argument, it would be released under EA.
I don't necessarily think it would be.
I think
that they're their own companies. They're just making that game through EA.
Yeah, well, I need to see a game, from them not released by EA. Then I'll, go believe that. Go ahead, Chris.
I mean, if you spun off BioWare, would they keep their IPs, the ones
That's a
that
good
they've
question.
created, like Mass Effect and Dragon Age? Would they keep those, or
Ooh.
would EA keep those? Because EA should not keep those.
Oh,
Yeah.
hell no.
Hey, I got one, and Brian, you'll like this. CD Projekt Red should get Dragon Age.
I don't care enough about Dragon Age to care. I'd rather say the guys that did the Divinity. I think it's Larian Studios. I think they should have it instead because they have a track record of like isometric RPGs.
Would they have the budget to make Dragon Age big and lavish like it's supposed to be though?
Well, that depends on who their investors are and how
Yeah.
big their studio
That
is.
is also true.
Is EA in charge of Burnout?
Yep,
Yes, unfortunately.
Burnout and Need for Speed.
Yeah. So who would you give those games to, Brian?
I think there aren't many racing studios out there that do that type of gaming as such.
What's that
Ironically,
that driving game that you're in love with?
Onrush, developers got closed down, I think, or had major layoffs, and it was Codemasters
Oh, okay.
that did it. I guess the Forza people, since they're the only people left.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
I would not
Yeah.
give it to GT guys, Gran Turismo guys.
Yeah, the prolific.
That's
Yeah, because they're gonna turn them into a
that's
fucking
not their
driving
game.
sim.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think they wouldn't even be able to do a game like that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Don't forget, like it's two different studios who make Forza games. It's the Turn 10 and it's that other studio that makes the Horizon
Yeah, that's
game.
true. Yeah, give it to the Horizon team. Let them do Burnout.
Yep.
It's interesting. By the way, Glorious War, is that your official question? Because we can't talk about that because that's an interesting topic. Anyway, let's move on here. Where the hell are we? Okay. I don't really understand this question because it kind of seems open-ended, but I'm going to ask it. We'll see what happens. Are there any games with post-game content you enjoyed? I don't really know what that means.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, like officially, post would a game, because officially you see credits at the end of Nier Automata, right? Every single time you've actually played it. So those things everything after the first one would probably be a post game content, wouldn't it be?
I guess. I don't know.
I feel like post game content is after you've seen the credits already.
Yeah.
But then again, that would cast your second playthrough of Resident Evil 2 as post game content.
To me, and I could be just seeing it wrong here. To me, post game content means it's an online game. You beat the campaign and then the real game starts. Quote unquote. But I could be wrong. I could just be seeing it wrong. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I don't understand what post game content means in this.
You know how like
context.
Metal Gear 5 had two, had essentially two endings.
Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah,
I wouldn't call that post game content.
Because you finish after you defeat Skullface, there's essentially the credits roll, and then you play again. You don't play again, but you play a whole new chapter of stuff.
Yeah, but that's like saying that the oh shit, I was about to give it away. After the credits of Red Dead Redemption 2, saying that's post game content. To me, that's not post game content. That's still the game.
I would think that's post game content. Because officially,
actually, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong. There are no credits after that, right? It just leads into it, right? The epilogue.
Just leads into it. It's an official epilogue. So I agree. It's just like another chapter, right?
Yeah. So it's not post game content.
It's not post game.
Okay.
Okay. Actually, we should probably nail that down first. What is post game content? Even I'm fishy on this.
I mean, at least my thought of it was post game content is literally after you've triggered the ending. You got your credits and all that stuff.
Oh, okay, like unlockables and shit, right? Okay, actually, okay,
I
maybe.
thought of it different.
Hold on, let me just throw this out, and then you're going to colors. Like, for example, I beat Resident Evil 2, those two campaigns, and now I unlock the fourth survivor. That would be post game content, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Fourth survivor. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Carlos. What's your definition?
So I agree with that, but also wouldn't like post game like be like DLC also?
Yeah, see, that's why I'm asking the question.
Well, I mean,
it
depends on DLC, because some DLC, you don't need to beat the game in order to access. Most of it you don't. If you've already finished Spider-Man, you can kind of jump into those DLCs without having to be that far into the story.
See, Shingok says that he thought it was DLC too. That's why I'm I don't know.
DLC is not post game, because post game would mean that you'd have to beat the game in order to access it.
Well, no, but like what you're saying, like what you're thinking of is more to post campaign. It's like post game is like what's after the actual game that you get. That's how I'm interpreting.
Yeah, see, that's the thing though. You got to understand where me and Manny coming from. To us, the campaign is the game. Everything else is just gravy after that.
Because to be honest, like online is not post game, because it's you have online there even from the beginning. You don't need to unlock the online.
Yeah. But I think you could make a case for DLC being post game content.
Yeah,
again,
I don't know.
If it's post game, that would imply that you have to complete the game in order to play the DLC. Most DLC you don't need to do that.
That is also true.
All DLC you don't need to do that.
This is a very interesting situation we're finding ourselves in. How to define post game content?
Yeah, because like for me, it's like now that I'm thinking about the question even more, it's like like post game content is content you get after a game comes out. Like whatever you get on day one is the game. Like that's the game. Whether it's online, whether it's campaign, whether it's whatever, that's the game. After that is post game content, DLC.
See, here's the thing.
Hold on. I'm thinking.
That's post-release content.
I was going to say that. I think we may have the problem may be the actual definition, because I think our friend here, English is not his first language, so maybe he meant post-launch content.
And neither is mine and Tony's.
Well, now it is. That's my main language now. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't speak English regularly. So maybe if he meant post-launch content, then we could all agree on what post-launch content is. Anything after the launch, you know?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
anything
like
after-
post launch content like is just more tells it gets to the point. It's like, yeah, you know what it is.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
Spider-Man
it's-
had the post-launch content, shit
Yeah,
like
it's all
that.
the DLC and all that stuff. That's post-launch content. Post-game content is stuff that you've actually unlocked after completing the game.
Yeah. Here, by the way, and I think this goes to me, my definition, because Black Metal Gamer says that Dragon Quest XI had post-game shit. You could see it that way, but to me, I'm like, okay, if it's not the real ending, then it's not post-game. That's just more of the game. That's just the rest of it, you know? Like, I understand that you saw the credits, but I'm like, but you didn't see the real ending, so it's not post-game content. It's just the game. But that's the way I see it, you know?
Here's the thing: is New Game Plus post game content?
Yes.
I would say so, yes.
I think so, yes.
Even if it's the exact same game over,
Yeah,
maybe
that
just a different difficulty or something like
yeah,
that.
because it's content, and I'm just being very literal now. It's content that you get after the game, so that would technically be post-game content, you know, because you only unlock it afterwards, you know.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore. Not all that's DLC.
I don't know if we could properly answer this question, but I like the conversation around it, you know.
Yeah. Make sure to let us know in the comments, like, what do you actually mean by that? Because we're like kind of like divided here.
Yeah,
I'm kind of hung up on terms.
Yeah, on the definition. Yeah. All right, so we can't properly answer this.
But if I'm being honest with myself, I'm thinking what he's referring to is what you guys are talking about.
Yeah,
More
but
than
even
one
I'm
time.
not sure. You know, like maybe I'm guessing this is what he's talking about. We'll see. All right, I'm going to throw in Barry's question in here. If large corporations are not recognized as people, can EA be the villain in the next Bond movie?
Wasn't a corporation a villain in one of the Bond films? Wasn't that the one where they're in the
Goldfinger.
ice? No, not Goldfinger. No, we're talking newer.
Octopussy.
We're talking
the
shit. What's his name?
Live and Let Die.
You mean Quantum of Solace?
Quantum of Solace.
I think it was an oil company.
It was an oil company. They were an evil corporation, or the stupid space laser, the one in the ice caps.
Oh God,
that one. Well, that was the one with Halle Berry, right?
Yeah, was it Never Say? Yeah,
oh, yeah. God. Remember, he was a friggin' a media mogul newspaper guy.
That's right.
No,
yeah.
that was Tomorrow Never Dies.
Oh, Tomorrow Never Dies.
Tomorrow Never Dies. There you go.
Yeah.
Quantum of Solace is such a dumbass fucking title, man.
Oh, it wasn't a really good movie. I mean, it was the worst
Angry
of
Bond.
the Daniel Craig Bonds.
I think. Never mind.
What was the one after Quantum? That was a good one. I liked that one.
It was the
Skyfall.
Skyfall was the shit, man.
Because it was an action movie.
Yeah. Quantum Solace. Yeah, man. And, Casino Royale was fucking good too, man.
Oh yeah, Casino Royale was the shit.
I own that shit on Blu-ray.
But Skyfall. The reason why Skyfall was so good is because they made it into a Jason Bourne movie.
Yeah, that's true. I can't argue with that. You know, it's crazy. All right, so yes, they could be the next villain in the Bond movie, sure. Even though, we've already visited that plot.
And so just really quick to put it into video game terms, for those of you who don't know anything about movies, let's think about James Bond movies as Tomb Raider and Jason Bourne movies as Uncharted. And then when I said the Skyfall was like a Jason Bourne movie, it's kind of like parallels to how Tomb Raider became like Uncharted.
It's interesting because if I were to pick a video game to be, James Bond, it would be more like Hitman. You know.
Oh yeah, like as far as the contents, yeah.
Yeah, and the man's got to look dapper too. You know.
Yeah, one of them suits.
Exactly, man. All right, moving on here to Mr. Black Metal Gamer. So both of his questions are about Capcom, by the way. So his first Capcom question is, with Capcom being top tier again, let's travel to last gen when they were Crapcom. What things did they do last gen that pissed you guys off? / is EA the new 2012 Capcom?
No, EA has always been crap. Like, EA's always done shitty things, right? Like since I don't know, probably last gen or the year, the gen before, but they have gotten successively worse. I wouldn't compare anyone because EA beat Bank of America for the most hated company in America, right? So you can't even compare them. I think Capcom used to do pretty deceitful things. Like they were still like with Street Fighter 4, they were still only updating the game by selling new versions. Like I forgot how many versions of Street Fighter 4 there were.
That
That
was
was
a lot.
stupid because you could just like Mortal Kombat 9 proved you could just stream updates, so Killer Instinct and all that stuff.
Or
Uh,
or the other thing that Capcom used to do, where they literally put all the DLC on the disc, and the unlock code
yes,
was the
it's
thing
just
you
unlock
download on.
codes. Yeah, so everything was there. Yeah, so they were guilty of that. Paying for good endings, like
Asura's
Asura's
Wrath.
Wrath, yeah.
Asura's Wrath. Yeah, so yeah,
Also,
they did.
characters that cost $5 each. Remember
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
Also, they brought back one of the most beloved franchises and pretty much killed it with Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
I think
Was that
Marvel.
last
I,
gen?
I think Marvel's
No,
Capcom. I think Marvel Capcom Infinite is worse than that. People like 3. I got, and Chris, this one you should have said Bionic Commando. That's it.
Ooh.
Bionic Commando.
Talk about killing
Oh,
a
man.
franchise,
But
man.
alternatively, they made Bionic Commando Rearmed the same year, which was awesome.
That is also
So
true.
crazy.
Yeah, that was good, but those guys could not make a 3D one. That did
Yeah,
not
that was
work.
trash. That was trash.
And Capcom's not off the hook. Like RE2 is great. Don't get me wrong; they've done good with Resident Evil, but with with the fighting games, like Street Fighter 5, just had the controversy with them sticking ads in there, right? So there's still
Yeah.
remnants of shitty practice going on.
Yeah, exactly. Like Capcom to me has done a lot to gain favor. Like, we had Monster Hunter, we were getting Devil May Cry, we got Resident Evil, but you're right, they're still doing some shitty things here and there, so they're not off the hook yet. But we've definitely come a long way since.
That's
yeah. Go ahead.
That's the step 12 of the 12-step process is get Street Fighter right, and then they're in our good graces.
Street Fighter fans, Jesus. Step 12.
Well, that's the funny thing.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, yeah, the whole ad thing is fucking bullshit. But like now, if they were to release Street Fighter 5 now, the way back, when it originally came out in the state it is now, it would have been better received because it has a bunch of shit in it. To me, that will never, I'll never let them pass on that one. It's like you fucked up Street Fighter. I don't care how good it is now. You lost your chance. But that's a whole topic for another day. It's like I hate when like people put out games that are like undercooked, and then like a year later, people are like, oh, you got to come back now. It's different. Like I don't care how different it is. The shit wasn't good on day one. I don't care. Like Sea of Thieves. I'm like, I don't care how good it is now. I'm not playing that shit. I gave it its chance. And
That's how I was with the Division.
Yeah, and I can't blame you. If Adam was here, man, he'd blow a gasket.
Yo, what do you mean?
His brain would be like making sparks and shit.
You probably just sneezed right now in the middle watching Royal Rumble or whatever that shit is.
Whatever event they're having today. Oh man! All right, moving on here. What current gen game engine do you find most impressive? He goes, I'm torn between the Decima engine and Capcom's RE engine. Both very good engines, by the way. All right, so what's the most impressive current gen engine
Is
to you?
Decima Death Stranding?
Death Stranding
Death Stranding / Horizon Zero Dawn. And Killzone Shadowfall.
Shadowfall.
I mean, there's a lot of issues with Killzone Shadowfall, but that engine wasn't it.
That engine was butter. The butter engine.
Is a butter engine. I mean, I'm pretty sure we can all say, especially since Brett's not here, it's not going to be the Bethesda engine.
Fuck no.
Oh no, thing is trash.
The question was this gen as well, so it's automatically out. So the Bethesda one is like last gen or gen before that, or I think the same year as the SNES. So I'm not quite sure.
Oh shit! What about Brian? What about the CD Projekt Red engine, man? Is that current gen?
I have no clue.
I'm giving that shit an honorary mention because that shit is butter too, man.
It just depends, like, because there's, like, for example, other than The Witcher 3, is there any other game that uses that engine?
Well, you don't need other games to use it,
Yeah, but, like, I mean,
like for example, like Luminous engine, I like the final, and there's only one game for it, Final Fantasy 15.
Hmm.
I don't know. I think the Decima and a couple of those other ones are doing pretty good. But you know what? I'm very impressed with a lot of the Unreal shit.
I was about to
With
say that.
The sheer amount of games, the different looking games that are coming out with Unreal Engine 4, it's pretty impressive.
Here's the thing, like last gen, and this I'm still holding on to that. Last gen Unreal Engine 3 was kind of annoying because every game that I used it looked like a fucking Unreal Engine game. So like even when you said that now, Manny, I had that visceral reaction, but then my mind is like, hold on, think about all the games that are on this shit now. Kingdom Hearts, Dragon Quest, all these games. I'm like, damn, like you don't like basically
Octopath Traveler.
Yeah, we've gotten to a point where Unreal games don't look like Unreal games, and that's good, Also, should we throw Frostbite in there? I don't know about that engine now.
Should we throw the Fox engine?
I mean, it does look nice, but I mean, after Metal
But
Gear,
now they're
it's all
using it
just-
for soccer games.
It's all Pro Evolution Soccer games.
Oh shit, I'm forgetting one.
I'd
Damn
say
it.
yes on Frostbite.
Frostbite? All right.
Yeah, they've only had, as far as I know, like the one game that didn't quite work that well with it, which was the Mass Effect games. Whereas again, the Battlefield games, apart from 4, they seem to be okay, and they did look really quite
Yeah.
good. And plus, they have, I'd say, hands down, the best destruction physics out there at the moment.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not seeing
Frostbite
anything
is
that
dope.
comes close.
Yeah, Frostbite is dope.
I think-
What
What
about
about Far Cry?
hey Brian, what about the Snowdrop, the Division?
Yeah, that's it. Well, when they first showed off the game, it would look good. Now, not so much. So, yes, I guess.
Yeah, that I don't know if maybe I'll ask that when I do another interview. It's like, does it still have? Because remember the whole thing with the frostbite with Snowdrop. It was like if you shoot a piece of glass, the bullet will go exactly where you shot it. It won't just shatter the entire thing. Like remember that shit? Like apparently, like if you shoot holes, it'll be exactly where you shot it. It won't be just random places, and it won't
Yeah.
disappear. Like
They said it in the demo when they were showing that shit.
yeah. Yeah. By the way,
I never realized
yeah.
that.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like they don't talk about that anymore. By the way, Glorious War. That's a good one. I believe they used that last gen, but we can still talk about it because it's dope. The Naughty Dog engine. That's an engine
Yeah.
you're looking at it. Like remember when they revealed the Uncharted DLC? Like the first couple of seconds, I'm like, I don't know what game that is, but that's the
Yeah.
fucking Naughty Dog engine.
Yeah, the fucking Chloe game. What is it called?
Yeah. I forgot the game, but you know what I'm
Lost
talking about.
Legacy or
Lost
Legacy. Yep.
Yeah. Also the same one that's doing The Last of Us 2,
I'll
Is
I'll
that
throw it-
gameplay? Is that gameplay?
I was
Yo,
gonna
It's crazy.
I was gonna throw in there id Tech 7. That's gonna run the next Doom game and Rage.
Yes, there's a lot of good engines, man.
And what did those guys use for the Order? Because that was
That shit was crazy.
That
that
was
shit was
that was
crazy,
their
yeah.
proprietary engine. I mean, that's
I'll
there.
give that a shout out because that was
Yeah.
amazing.
They used it on that. I think they used it on that virtual game, but they haven't had many other games in there that actually really take advantage of it. It's funny. A lot of the people from the Order, the guys who made all the textures and things, and skin textures and all that stuff, they all worked on Uncharted. A lot of them worked on Uncharted.
Here's one. Glorious War says the Insomniac engine, Ratchet and Clank, Spider-Man, Sunset Overdrive, very good engine as
That's
well.
a very impressive engine. I mean, yeah, like the last, like Sunset Overdrive, and when they did the new Ratchet and Clank, that shit looked like CGI.
It really did, And then Spider-Man, obviously, that shit looks crazy.
It's just probably just a texture that they went in there, but like, man, you can get so close to fucking Spider-Man's head and see all the stupid like texture he has on his suit.
Yeah. Remember when all these idiots were talking about, this game's been downgraded.
Oh,
Yeah.
All look stupid, Glorious War says we got to verify this. I'm not calling you a liar, obviously, but I don't know this. Cyberpunk 2077 is using Unreal 4. Really? Why would they do that when they have that kick-ass engine already?
I don't know. I think they're using their own engine.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, they already have a bomb-ass engine. Why would they use Unreal 4 unless maybe they wanted to get it out fast? I don't
They
know.
wouldn't need to redevelop the damn thing.
That is also true.
I mean, unless the Witcher engine is only made for you can only make Witcher games.
Maybe.
According to the wiki, it's using Red Engine 4, which is their proprietary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that's
Witcher
what I
engine.
figured. It's like, why would you
Yeah.
use somebody else's shit when you got your own? You know?
But that's the same question you wanted to ask. You ask with Square Enix, because you remember,
Yeah, because they have Luminous. Why do you?
they were
Why,
s-
yeah.
because you know what happened is because Luminous wasn't ready and they needed to get started on
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts. So they're just like, okay, we're using Unreal. Same thing with Dragon Quest.
Think about it. That tells you how long Kingdom Hearts has been in development. That the engine Luminous wasn't even ready yet. You know?
Yep.
It's
Well,
interesting.
well, I mean, they were still in the midst of making that final thing. Think about when they re-announced Final Fantasy. That was around the launch of the PlayStation 4. They announced Kingdom Hearts 3 when
Yep.
the PlayStation 4 first was announced.
Yep, that's right. That is 100% right. And they specifically said we are not going to really ramp up production on Kingdom Hearts 3 until we finish Final Fantasy 15. That's exactly what happened, you know. But
Yep.
I think it's smart that they went for Unreal 4. It's like I'm glad we're getting out of this era for Japanese developers where they start making a brand new engine for every game. They're finally getting out of that shit, you know.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's like you look at just look at the history of the Kojima games, man. Every single Metal Gear game pretty much had a new engine. Metal Gear 1, Metal Gear 2, Metal Gear 3, 4 had a new engine. 5 had a new engine.
All of them.
Every single game had a new engine that was developed for it, and it was only until 5 where he figured, okay, we're gonna try to make an engine that we can universally use. But you remember how long that was? That was over 5 years that it took him to do that.
Yeah, well, you know, to make an engine like that, it takes a while, you know.
Oh yeah,
It's interesting, man. I wonder what, you know, I mean, we can't answer this now, but it'll be interesting to see what next gen brings us, you know, in terms of engines and stuff.
I think a lot of the game studios are getting really smart, and they're they're kind of just iterating on old engines or just reusing another engine. By the way, more Unreal games, Dragon Ball Z Fighters,
Yes.
The recent Street Fighter game, fucking Tekken, Soul Calibur.
That's right.
And none of these games look like Unreal games.
No.
It's interesting. Jump Force, that's another one that's using Unreal. You know,
Yep.
That's right.
it's crazy, man. Although with that one, you can see some of the unrealness in the edges, you know, so to speak. All right, let's move on here to Shingok. So his first question is, what games have you had the most fun getting the platinum or getting 100% in? I like this question. So it doesn't like exactly if you didn't get the platinum, you know, at least got 100% in it. So what games did you have the most fun completing?
Oh, I want to say recently it was a Spider-Man.
Yes.
And I'd say Gravity Rush. The 2 Gravity Rush games. Getting 100. Yeah, I say Nier was also a good time to do it in. Yeah, there's so many games.
There's a
that
lot
is
of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the first ones I remember is the first Infamous. I had a lot of fun getting that platinum. Spider-Man more recently. What else? I'm trying to think. Burnout was fun both times, you know. It's a lot of games out there, man. You know, good stuff. Go ahead, Manny. You gonna say something else?
Alternatively, you're going back into the past, like friggin' even though it took a shitload of time to do, but Final Fantasy X, getting through all of that stuff, getting all the stuff in that. But that was when I had time.
Yeah. By the way, those games count too. Like I had, I had fun getting 100% in Sonic Adventure back in the day. Getting everything in Sonic CD without no guides at all. You know, just playing the game and figuring shit out. You know, that was way back in the day. By the way, Shingok says this also could be for achievements too, you know. I never got 100% in any Xbox game. I just don't play them that long. But I did try to get as many as I could for Cuphead. I think there was one or two I'm missing. I got most of those. So that game was fun. This is something Manny talk about. It's going to sound weird, but like when a game is really good, you kind of feel like getting 100% or getting close to it is like giving it its respect. You know?
Yeah, but you've decided to take the whole thing, like just go through every single thing, that absorb every single bit that the game has to offer.
Yeah.
No, yeah, Tony, you're right.
Yeah.
You do sound weird. Anyways,
Yeah.
no, I
Yeah,
got
it's like when you eating food and it's like you got to get all the crumbs, the oil and shit. You know,
Yo,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
exactly.
You gotta get
You're
all-
cleaning
lick
your
it all.
plate. That's the perfect analogy of it.
You know,
That's like,
and when nobody's looking, you take the plate. You're like,
yeah, you lick the plate, you lick all the crumbs off. You pick up every single grain of rice off of it.
yeah, like
Lick
that's
the
how you know.
sauce.
Yeah, that's how you
It's
know. And
gone.
I try to do that with games. Like, there's nothing left. Like, yo, have fun cleaning this. Dish is gonna take you like 3 seconds. You know. Anyway, go ahead, Carlos.
Yeah, the Halo games. I like back in the day. I used to 100% to play it like legendary and like get all the Easter eggs and shit. Get all the skulls for those people that know about Halo. Like, I think there was an achievement for skulls. I don't remember, but either way, I still would get him. And yeah, like recently also like Spider-Man, because I don't really have that many platinums. Um, what's it called? Fallout 3. I 100% at that one, I think. So yeah, there's just a lot of games like that back in the day that you would just do everything for, like, because that's all you had. Like Super Mario 64, I remember I got all the 120 stars and went to the top of the castle and shit like that. So yeah, a lot of games.
Nice, Chris.
I'd say Bloodborne. That
Yeah,
was
that was fun. That was fun.
that was a fun one. Spider-Man was definitely fun just because I like just playing Spider-Man. Um, I recently, Kristen helped me. I did Resident Evil 5.
Nice.
As I
That
was
was fun
preparing for
too.
two.
Actually, me and Manny, we did that. Thank you for reminding me.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was fun.
Yeah, that was good. I was gonna say Demon Souls, but that was not fun. That was grindy as shit because they expected you to get every single like material, every single weapon, so you had to get the materials and forge the weapon, right? But you also had to have the materials too. So that shit was grindy as fuck.
Dude,
What
hold
was
on.
the-
Didn't you
what was
get the
the-
didn't you get the platinum twice in that fucking game?
No, I got the platinum in the American version. I played
Yeah.
the other version.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Okay, because I thought you were so hardcore that you get the
Yeah,
platinum in the
No,
international
I
one
played the
too.
Japanese one. Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's
I-
crazy.
But yeah, but like, isn't that the one where you like, if you just hold the item, it counts as you having it.
Yeah, but the thing was, yeah, you could hold a sword, right? So I was missing one sword, and I think a guy invaded my game, and I said, "Look, we'll fight, but do you have this weapon?" And he said, "Yeah." He dropped it, and I picked it up, and it popped, right? So I was
Nice.
like, "Thanks, all right," and we went at it. But the stuff I wanted all the materials, and that I wasn't not gonna ask random people, "Yo, you have Sky Stone, man? You got Sky Stone?" Anyone got like begging?
You got any stones?
Got any stones?
That
Yo,
shit is
I got to
funny.
give an honorable mention to a game, and this only I don't know if Chris or Brian have played it, but at least I mean I liked it from the beginning. But for Tony, it gave him a deeper appreciation trying to get it 100%. And even though we didn't get it 100%, Super Mario Odyssey is one of those games that we enjoyed trying to like do
Oh
everything.
fuck yeah, yeah. There was a point
Yeah.
where I'm like, okay, you know, I got to give this up, but I got a lot of that shit in Mario Odyssey, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was good stuff. By the way, at the Center Manny, we had fun getting 100% in Portal 2. Remember that?
Yeah,
The
when we did the
Oh,
online in
yeah.
Portal 2, yeah,
Yeah.
it was cool.
Now remember,
in fact,
the funny thing about
that's
that,
actually
yeah.
not the first time that I got all through of Portal 2. In fact, I played Portal 2 on Kristen's Xbox. You know, when me and Kristen used to live in the same apartment, and they got that game Portal, and I was like, wow, this game is so cool. And I think I beat it in a night. I was like, oh man, this is.
Oh yeah,
I
you
think
stayed up all night, man.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember. This is gonna sound really stupid. I remember I refused to buy that game initially because I didn't understand. I didn't like Gabe Newell. I thought he was an asshole. I'm like, fuck that guy. But then they were selling the game for $40. I'm like, Manny likes it. I may as well get it. And here's another fun thing about that. Manny and I were delayed in playing that game online because that's when the PSN hack happened.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
So we had to wait, you know. So I'm sitting there like I got like every trophy in the game except for the online ones, you know. And then when we finally got back online, I think within like 2 nights we did it, you know.
Yeah, we did the 2-player mode. It was real fun.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
I think for Portal 2, the co-op might have been better than the single player.
I don't know about. Nah, I like the single player more, but the co-op was good.
That call was so fun.
Yeah. All right. Brian.
I would have a look at what I have, and I would say God of War. So 1, 2, and 3, because they just had fun.
Those were fun. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Um, I was about to say Need for Speed, but none of them have been fun. They've been kind of grindy. So no. Infamous 2, over Infamous 1, purely because of the fact that in Infamous 2 you had the radar, which was like one of the unlocks, which gave you like the shards, whereas with Infamous 1 there was none of that, and you just had to do like old school map, and that was just some bullshit, like serious bullshit. I can't put in Infamous the other ones because they with that score attack thing that they had, that was some bullshit.
Oh yeah, I got those. Those are all right.
No, they seriously like stopped the flow for me. Like they again, like in the game they made sense, but as like achievements to get, they were just kind of like, hey, do this for this many rounds. It's like, no, that's busy work. Give me actual stuff in the overworld. Like we like the overworld. That's why we like it. You know, it's a superhero game. We like doing that stuff. Not sat here like trying to like defeat like 5 waves of bullshit men. I wasn't a fan of that. I wouldn't say Bloodborne, but that one chalice dungeon with the like half the health.
That was
Not feeling
bullshit.
that.
Oh,
I need
yeah.
to do that stupid
Oh,
one.
shit.
That's
Yeah.
the one I need to do.
Everything else, no problem, fine. Just that one part, like, no, I'm sorry.
The Cursed Chalice dungeon. That's what I've been trying to get. I want to get back into that and get in there.
Yeah, I
and
remember
finish that one.
me, Chris, and I think Riku. We ran through that pretty fast. Like, no, get the fuck out of here. This is a bullshit. Let's finish this fast. You know, man.
I would have to throw in Just Cause 2. I had way too much fun with that game. I think that was like the first game I ever accidentally spent over 100 hours before the platinum, and it was just purely by accident. Because I got like hour like 70 something, and I was like, hey, you know what? I only have like 5 trophies left until the platinum. Like, why not?
Can I throw down a question for you guys? Brian just
Uh-oh.
sparked something. Do you guys more? Which one do you is more likely that you're playing a game and you complete it and you're like close to getting a platinum by then and you're like, oh, I might as well just get it, or like finish a game and then spend most of your time just trying to get the platinum?
It depends. Okay, nowadays it would be the first option. I'm like, okay, I'm here. May as well get the platinum. That's what happened with me in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I'm like, it would take me less time to get the platinum than to 100% the game. So I'm like, let me just get the platinum. Back in the day, it would be the other option. Like actually, back in the day, I would get a game and pre-plan my path to the platinum trophy. You know, that's how I used to do it back in the PS3 era. Like when trophies were announced, I'm like, I would get a game, and I got myself out of this real quick. But there was a brief period of time I would not buy a game if it didn't have any trophies. I was like, I'm not buying this shit. Like, why? There's no, I can't get a platinum for this. So that's how I used to do it. So yeah, nowadays, if I'm close to it, just because I just don't have the time for it anymore, I will get the platinum. But other than that, I'm not gonna try to get the platinum out of the gate. If this was 10 years ago, like right now, Resident Evil 2, I'm not going to try to get that platinum. That's just too crazy. 10 years ago, I would have gotten that fucking platinum. I'm like, yep, I'm going to fucking do this. I'm going to play shit on hardcore. I'm going to do all this stuff. I don't do that anymore, you know? Like, as stupid as it sounds, I don't want too much resistance from these things, you know? Because, like, if I'm trying to spend 3 weeks on a fucking game, like, come on, I got other shit I got to play, you know, for work specifically. You know, back in the day, with, obviously just doing it for just purely for fun, yeah, why not? Take a month to get the platinum. Why not? You know, but that's different now. What about the rest of you guys?
That I would specifically go out to get the platinum?
No, like what's more likely, that you're playing a game and you're like, may as well get the platinum. I'm close to it, or that you plan it beforehand.
Yeah, I didn't fully plan for Spider-Man, but I did plan for Gravity Rush and Gravity Rush 2 because I kind of looked at what it was there and I was like, hey, it looks like it doesn't look too unreasonable. I think I could do those.
Yeah, just knowing you're more situational. It's how you feel about it, you know.
Yeah, it's about how I feel about it. If I, if I really want to give it that sort of time, like my main goal is actually not the platinum is actually to get especially if it's a game that I like, to get everything I can out of the actual game. So that means clearing your plate. So if clearing your plate also means that the platinum, you get the platinum while you're clearing your plate, then that's awesome.
Yeah, that's I should say that's always my main goal, period, outside the platinum. Because remember, platinums are still new things. My goal has always try to get 100% in the game, in the actual game.
And and that's the way I classically played games, even back in the day, where it's like it's I call it playing for keeps. So like my first round through is I get every single thing that I can get in the game in that one long run.
Yeah. All right, Chris, what about you? Which one of those situations is more likely for you, that you like plan out to get trophies, or you just get them? You decide, hey, I'm close enough, may as well get them, may as well get the platinum.
Yeah, I'm mostly the second one now. Where I'll finish the game and then I'll look at my trophies. Like what I do is I just go to trophies, see them update, and go, okay, what's left? If even if a lot of them are hidden, if I see ones that I'm like, okay, I could do this, so I'm gonna go for it. If I see multiplayer ones that are required for the plat, then I usually don't do it.
Yeah, multiplayer is the deal breaker for me. Like, nope, I'm not doing this shit.
Other
Unless
than
they're
that,
easy.
I'll do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if they're easy, but if it's like insane, like we get like 1,000 headshots, like that.
Chris, remember for Killzone 2, it was literally kill 10,000 players. It's like, who the fuck is gonna do that?
Yeah, right.
Justin Auto Networks, thank you for following. Yeah, by the way, I'm like that with Dragon Quest 11. I'm like, man, I only have like 5 trophies. Granted, it's gonna take a while, but I'm like,
5 trophies doesn't seem like that much.
It doesn't, man. Because okay, I need to get all my characters to level 99. Most of them are in their 90s already. And once I get that, all the other trophies are gonna be easier because I'm so high level. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm debating it. So if I ever have enough free time, I'm going to go back and do that shit. I just had to listen to like a bunch of podcasts in the background while I'm level grinding,
Speaking of another tangent, but speaking of trophies, sometimes when I'm playing a game and let's say I beat it or I'm close to beating it, and then I look at the trophy list and then I see a trophy that I haven't unlocked that's like 80 or 90% like unlocked by other people, I feel insulted.
Oh, really?
I feel like obviously everyone else is doing something that I'm not doing in this game. So I'm not doing something right.
That's funny. Yeah, I never look at my trophies compared to others. It's rare I do that,
I actually, to be honest, I do it with you, Tony.
Yo, you crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I always, like, especially if it's a game that I'm currently playing, sometimes I check to see yours because you are the one that, at least classically, you are the one that always got those trophies. Always kind of, cleared out a platinum trophy. So I would always look at yours like, I wonder how come I didn't get that one. All right.
Interesting. Yeah, I never look at other people's trophies. I just do it for myself, basically.
I'm also curious to see, because it also is indicative of a sign of what kind of player you are. So like if you're, I'm the type that kind of, explores and continues to look around. You look to an extent and then just kind of move on. So then I'll be like, oh, look, I got that one, but you didn't get that one. Interesting.
Yeah, it's like if you're playing a game where it's like melee an enemy like 3 times or something like that, and you don't have that trophy. Like, oh, I guess I'm not doing this mechanic as much as other people are.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Like, I remember, and this was back when I did check out other people's trophies. With my cousin, we were playing Uncharted 2, and I noticed that he didn't get the trophy for like 100 headshots. I'm like, it's kind of interesting. You're not getting headshots, because I got that one maybe 2 days in playing the game, because that's all I did, Like, I would just like, I got out of that practice. Like, whenever I played a game, I would not try to do any shots unless it was a headshot. Now I'm like, nah, you can shoot them around. They'll still die, But yeah, it's kind of interesting to like see how other people play games.
For me, like you and mostly Chris is actually really good at games with the shooting mechanics in it. So he always tends to have like a lot of headshots and stuff like that, whereas I really kind of suck at shooting games. So I'm just shooting at the bot. I'm shooting at anywhere you could.
I bet you get the melee trophy first, though.
I get the melee trophy though, because that's my shit. punch him in the face.
Right, Brian. Which one are you most likely to do? Playing a game. Are you more likely to, just go, hey, I'm only a couple trophies away. Let me get the platinum, or are you like, I'm gonna get the platinum right from the beginning?
Um, Now I've kind of moved away from both of them, and I'm just more of a case of like, hey, is it a game that I like playing, and is it a game that I want to have the platinum in? So, so for example, like I'm trying to get like um not one of each type of game, but like one of like a certain type of game to like have. So hence, I have like a Bloodborne type game as a platinum. I have a Ratchet and Clank remaster game as a platform, or as a platinum. So I'm just trying to get like different types of games as platinums that I do enjoy. So I'm just like mixing and matching. But generally, how I would do things is I would like say, okay, let's play this game, see how I feel about it. If I like it, then I'll look at the trophy list and see whether or not I like that, and then from there on in, I will just go off and get the platinum done. But things that I like, I will put down the game or just ignore the platinum if there's something that involves collecting more than 100 of anything. I feel like that is my maximum. If the game says, "Hey, collect 110 of these," it's like, nope, go fuck yourself. Not doing it. I don't
Here's
think
my
that's worth my
thing.
time.
I only say that if I need to go to YouTube to do it, right? Like if there's an in-game way for me to get that, even if it's 200 shards, like for Infamous, Mike, I'll do it. The game shows me how to get them, But if I have to go to YouTube, I'm like, nope, fuck that. I'm not even collecting 10 of these things. If I got to go to fucking YouTube.
See, I understand that sentiment, but even then, like even if the game like tells me how to like if I have to go like out my way to go and find them, then I think that's where like my stuff stops.
Yeah,
Like
I think we're different because I like exploring, so I don't mind. Like, hey, if these shards take me to different things of the world and gets lets me shows me different things, then I don't mind it. But I can understand where you're like, dude, fuck that bullshit.
yeah, like sometimes it's like a game was like, hey, you have like collect like 50 of these, but yet like 10 of them are only available in like the prologue, and then you can't go back there. So then
Yeah, that's
you have to start
bullshit.
like a new game, and then it's like, hey, they don't carry over between games, so you have to start a new game and get them all. It's like that stuff. I'm not a fan of. Stuff that I do just love were the weapon stuff in Uncharted. That was fun. It's like, hey, get 50 headshots with this weapon, get 20 kills with this weapon, and then in New Game Plus, you just like load in any weapons. Like that's fun. That makes sense. Like it makes things a bit more exciting. So again, there are some things I like, some things I don't like, and some things I will just avoid. For example, if the game says, "Hey, play the game on the hardest difficulty setting," it's like, why should I bother? you know, like what if the most difficult setting is some bullshit that's just like, hey, enemies have twice the health and you don't. Like, why am I going to put myself through all that just for a damn trophy? So I tend to avoid anything that has like stupidly difficult ones, extremely
Yeah,
high critical ones.
difficulty
And that's it.
trophies in general. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Here's the thing.
It's just
I
it just
never
pissed me off.
Yeah, I never played games on hard until trophies came around. I'm like, okay, I guess I got to beat the game at hard now. But I understand your sentiment. Like, if it was up to me, I'd rather them not have it, because it's like, oh, I got to play this again, but like just on stupidity hard or whatever,
But for God of War, the original when it was on PS2, I played all of those
Yeah,
things
you
on
did.
hard
I know you
mode.
did. I never did. The original God of Wars, I never played those on hard until the remasters with the platinum. Like, I guess I'm gonna play these on hard. Same thing with the Prince of Persia games. I never played those on hard. Played them on hard to get the trophies. Actually,
Yeah,
no. I need to go back and play those on hard to get the trophies. I got to go back to those one day. Anyway, go ahead, Brian.
I said that the games that have like really good trophies for what they are the Call of Duty ones because they always have like, hey, you get a trophy for just beating like the level, and then you get a trophy for doing something in that level. So hence, let's say that it's like a stealth mission. It's like, hey, get 50 kills in stealth, or like sorry, get like 10 kills in stealth, which you can do by like replaying over and over again. And then usually there'll be like one or two like things that you can collect from that level, and that's it. And then there's the ability like super hard one, which in Call of Duty the hard ones aren't really that well. The hard mode isn't really that hard. It's just more a case of don't move and kill everything. And since other guys don't respawn, you are fine. But I feel like that's a good approach. It's like, hey, there's like one for beating the level, one for collecting things in the level, and the other one for doing something that you can only do in that level. And hence, you like encourage like replaying it and trying new stuff and trying different approaches. I feel like that's fine.
All right, cool. Moving on here to Shingok's second question. What do you expect from Shenmue 3? And is it something you're even interested in anymore? I see some say Yakuza has taken the interest away from it. I'm replaying the first now and then going to play a second for the first time. Yeah, I'm on the. I've actually said that myself. I said I don't really care about Shenmue anymore because I got Yakuza. So I'll probably play 3, but I don't care anymore. Like we talk about this. Like there's a certain shelf life for games. Like if they don't come out X amount of years, I lose interest. So that's that for me. As crazy as that sounds, but I'm getting my Shenmue fix with Yakuza, so I don't care. I'll play it, but I'm not excited. Go ahead.
I mean, when I originally played the game, like I really want to play the original Shenmue and play Shenmue 2 for the first time, but at the same time, I feel like I can't go back to those games for the one reason, just because of the time frame. Like I don't know about it anymore, like young. If I would have handed that to my younger self, and then he would have just been like, "Yeah, I got plenty of time," you know. But I'm still, me. I don't really get like insanely excited about it, but I do really want to play the new one.
Didn't you back it?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
So and we're still getting information about it. So same with Bloodstain. So it's coming, I guess. Yeah. Hopefully, you Suzuki can do it.
We'll see. Chris, you backed it too, right?
No, I didn't back Shenmue 3. I mean, that was at the time, like when the fervor was up, the page was crashing and stuff. I thought about it, but then I just didn't. And you know what? I'm kind of glad because my interest has completely faded in that game. Like I just look at it and I don't. It looks anachronistic, like the main guy's face looks weird. I don't know. It just I don't know. It just doesn't feel right anymore. And there's other stuff I could play. I could play Yakuza Fist of the North Star and stuff. I don't know. There's just whatever itch that needed to scratch. Like that time has passed for me. So I'm just like whatever.
Yeah. A quick thing that Shingo said. He goes, "Do you think that they are similar though? I get it, but I feel there are a ton of differences. Yeah, there are differences. But I still feel the core things are of at least what I like to do in Shenmue, I could do in Yakuza, right? Like to me, Yakuza was about like a big world, but not too big, where you could explore, talk to people, do a bunch of random shit, and fuck dudes up. I could do all that in Yakuza. Now, obviously, the big differences are that this is going to sound weird. Yakuza is simultaneously more serious and more goofy than Shenmue. Like the main story of Yakuza is really serious, really intricate, very dark and shit, like crime stories. But then the side missions are fucking out of this world crazy. Shenmue doesn't have that tone. Shenmue is kind of like a more like somber kind of tone. It's serious-ish, but I think some of those older games.
It's only silly because of the trend of localization.
Yeah, exactly. But again, the core things I like to do in Shenmue, fighting, training, side missions, mini games, all that Yakuza has, and Japanese culture. Obviously, like when you play Shenmue, you feel like you're visiting Japan, like it's a digital like tourist guide. Yakuza gives me that shit in spade. So that's why I feel they're at the core similar, and I would, if it was up to me, the Yakuza team would be handling Shenmue 3,
I always felt that Yakuza felt like the next eventual evolution of the idea of a Shenmue.
Yes, the idea, and I'm glad you said the idea of Shenmue, not Shenmue itself, the idea behind Shenmue.
Yeah, right? Where it's like
you're living that life, you're living the life of that character.
But it's not. Yeah. It's not to the point where it's not so deep in that point where it's allowed to be just a little bit lighthearted about it. You know what I mean?
But again, like I said, it's simultaneous. Yeah, go ahead.
Shenmue is, like what Tony said, it's a very one-tone sort of story. It's fairly. I mean, with the exception of that weird Jamaican guy in the game.
Yeah. But again, see that Jamaican guy, that's the kind of weird shit you would find in Yakuza, you know? But again, the main story of Yakuza doesn't have any of that stuff, you know? It's a straight up crime story. It's the side missions that are the goofy things. But weird as that sound, to me, the side missions are what really make those games, man. Shingok says, I was born... Damn, son. You guys are going to feel old now. Even the young guys in this podcast are going to feel old. He goes, I was born in 1997. So Shenmue came out when I was mad young and I always wanted to play it. As soon as 3 was announced, I jumped in, and yeah, I'm a fan of what I've played in Yakuza as well. I love the serious aspects of it. But see, this is shit I'm talking about. Look how young you are, yet you still want to go back and play the old shit. That's what we're talking about, man. That's fucking awesome.
I was 17 in 1997. Well,
Yeah,
17
so was
in
I.
1997, yeah.
Yeah, and we were 20 when the game came out in 2000, you know? Shenmue was fucking so hyped back in the day. We were losing our minds, man. Especially me getting the Dreamcast magazine, reading about it, going nuts. You know, like, yo, this is like fucking, this is like
a movie.
No, it was like, yo, this is like Virtua Fighter, but you could walk around, man. You know, it was crazy, man. But yeah, like Chris said, that time is past, man. I'm sorry. I understand people are hyped, and I'm glad they're hyped. But for me, I got Yakuza, man. I'm good. You know. All right, Carlos, Brian, do you care about Shenmue?
I played them, but I was like really young, so I don't really have that much love for the franchise. A lot of the people, so I played it with a lot of friends, and I think they like it more than I do. So I have some friends that are looking forward to 3, but for me, like how I was mentioned, Yakuza kind of filled that void that I had, at least with the franchise, and there isn't really a direction they can take it that I have to that I'm really dying for with this franchise. So
Do you also feel this is just for the room, the idea of it, or do you feel like that just because of how long it's taken to kind of develop this one, even after the announcement, has kind of made everybody a little bit melancholy about it, or or not melancholy, but more just eh.
No, and I'll tell you why. Because if, for example, they did the same thing for Half-Life 3, people will lose their minds. And I think it just has to do with the different types of franchises.
Does it? But I mean, I feel like I feel like some of the excitement has kind of worn off. You know what I mean?
It definitely has.
After after that announcement, everybody lost their mind. But then after that point, it just kind of has been slowly but surely falling. I feel that same sort of things kind of happens when is somewhat happening a little bit with Death Stranding as well, where it's like it wasn't that long that they announced it. It was in fact 3 or 4 years ago, right? But slowly but surely, it's just the needle is just falling and falling as the years go on.
Yeah, no, for sure. So yeah, I think
I feel like if the for the hilarious thing, if somehow Yu Suzuki was managed to develop Shenmue 3 behind the scenes, and they announced it that show, I think it would have still had that same momentum.
Well, it had a lot of stink on it. Remember, it's a crowdsourced game, crowdfunded game, and it was I don't know, it just took, like you mentioned, it took too long for anything to happen. There's been a lot of dead periods of we're just not getting any news about this game, and yeah, there is definitely a lot of lost sort of luster for this title, and I don't know. I still think when it releases, it'll be kind of popular, but
I don't think it'll be an explosion like some people might expect it to be.
I agree with that. By the way, I want to give a quick shout out to Fandom Vash, who's joining us here, and he brings up a good point. He goes, Judgment from the Yakuza studio is coming this summer. Yeah, which one do you think I'm more excited for, Shenmue 3 or Judgment? I'm fucking hyped for Judgment. Yeah. I can't wait for that shit.
Even coming this year? I don't even know.
Yeah, they said it's coming. Yeah, they claim it's coming this year, Shenmue. But yeah, think about this. I mean, granted, I'm going to play both of them, but if I had a choice, Judgment or Shenmue 3, I'm getting motherfucking Judgment, man. because that's going to give me that same fix, And Brian, you don't give a fuck about Shenmue, do you?
Nope. I only recognize it as the game that Torrance really loves from the Dreamcast.
Fair enough.
But-
All right, where are we now? Glorious War. So his question is, and he asked this earlier today, have you guys seen the lifetime sales of Xbox One? It was leaked from Zooge EX, from Twitter, that it has sold 41 million consoles. I have not heard this news until you told me, but I could believe it sold 41 million.
What number were we in last time? Remember, we talked about this because I think
29
EA...
million. 29 million.
Oh, okay.
That's
So
what
it's-
EA said.
Okay. So 40, was it 40, 41 million?
Yeah, it says 41 million. But apparently a report after the EA one, closer to the holidays, said 40 million, which was a few months ago. So yeah, I could believe that 41 million, sure. I still think Switch is going to outsell that shit, though.
This year?
This year, yep. This
Yeah.
year's going to happen. I believe that. When Pokemon comes,
Pokemon? Yeah.
forget about it. Think about how well Smash Brothers did. It made that one fucking month. It helped it outsell both consoles the entire year. You know,
It's fucking crazy.
don't underestimate these Nintendo fans, man. These guys are crazy.
Don't underestimate me with Pokemon. I might fucking buy another console just to get Pokemon.
Damn. Why would you need another one? What the fuck?
Because it'd probably be like a little, I don't know, Pokemon sticker on the decal on the
Oh,
fucking
I got
Switch or
you.
something. I don't
The
know.
special edition. Yeah.
Yeah. You know how Nintendo is with those
Yeah.
those special editions.
Hey, Manny, check this out. Shenmue 3 is scheduled to come out August 27th.
Oh, okay.
We'll see about that.
That sounds very familiar because didn't they release it like in the summer, like last time too? Like the original Shenmue was released in like the summer.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, I didn't hear about that, but that is interesting. Again, this is one of those things where we just have to look for other sources other than Microsoft because they don't want to tell us the numbers themselves.
We not tell you numbers. We'll tell you how much, how far you drive in Halo.
The HD collection of Shenmue was last summer as well, so I guess they're sticking to a trend, baby.
Yep.
Yo,
I
Fan
still
of
have
Action,
that-
what's that Judgment coming though, man? That's shit I want. That's crazy. All right, unless you guys have any more questions for us, man, I think we're done for tonight, man. So let's vamp. I don't know what to vamp about. The Resident Evil 2.
know.
Resident Evil 2 is good. Buy it. It's crazy.
Yeah, Resident Evil 2's
They got zombie.
I-
It's a zombie game I like.
I can only
Well,
play 20 minutes at a time, but I'm slowly and surely getting through it. I'm thinking, I'm like, man, I wish I could play this with someone.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's
because it'll take the fear away, right?
Well, it's not even. Well, yeah, like I guess I don't know if it's anxiety or whatever, but it's like, man, when I'm playing it, I'm like just like I'm not like I'm like if I'm playing with this, it'll probably be a better experience because I get to share that sort of anxiety with someone else, and it's not just me like just trudging through it.
You could also play with the lights on.
That's what I
Oh,
do.
no,
I
I
play
did-
that shit with the lights on, man. Even like I said, this game is still not as scary to me though. Like it's scary, but it's really more for like the shock moments. It's not like constant fucking terror like Resident Evil 7.
I mean, also, I think Resident Evil 7 has a fair, you have a fair amount of helplessness to you. Like I noticed that when you were playing as Sherry Birkin, you were like, "Oh fuck,"
Yeah, man, little girl, I'm scared as motherfucker, man.
See, but I think part of the power, the way when these things start to feel more scary and stuff is because of the character themselves almost makes you feel safer.
Yeah.
The
but
the fact that you're playing a police officer who's good at shooting, and you're playing a girl who's like trained in all kinds of crazy shit. Right?
Whose brother is literally Chris Redfield.
Yeah.
So
So
you're
I'm sure
It's-
she knows some stuff.
Yeah, it's a little hard. Yeah, like you can't be too scared when you literally have a grenade launcher, a Beretta, and all this other shit. Resident Evil 7, you have your fists.
Yeah. But then you have your fist. But then here's the alternative. the part of the game, the when you're playing that old guy, right? The fucking punching game, right? Guy has no weapons at all, but it's probably the most craziest thing ever.
Yeah, but at
Because
the
of
end,
how
but at,
empowered
you know,
he is.
but Kristen, you already know this. Towards the end of the game, it becomes Resident Evil, man. You know, crazy ass monsters, guns, all this shit,
Rocket launchers.
all that stuff, man, all that stuff. By the way, that happened to me. It's not a spoiler, man. Everybody played Resident Evil 2. Because I'm fighting Tyrant, and I'm like, how the fuck do I take... Like, my brain farted. I'm like, how the fuck do I take out this guy, man? And then 4 minutes left on the clock. Somebody drops a rocket launcher. I'm like, oh, Resident Evil.
Well, I mean, you totally forgot about that?
Yeah, I blanked out. I'm like, I felt stupid. I'm like, dude, this is Resident Evil. What happened? Not the original. Every Resident Evil game, how does it end? Somebody throws you a rocket launcher. Literally every game. Even 7 ends like that, you know? It's crazy. Oh, Tony, spoiler. Fuck that. It's Resident Evil. They all end like that.
Yeah, they all pretty much end like that.
Even 7, though, the revamp, the relaunch. Nope, you still get a rocket launcher, you know? All right, so, Glorious War, thank you for reminding me your other question that we almost didn't get to. Why did God of War win the majority of game of... Hold on, you asked this shit already, bro. You asked this shit like... you asked this shit already. I'll ask the question, but we answered this like 3 weeks ago. His question is, why did God of War win the majority of Game of the Year awards when it had lower Metacritic than Red Dead Redemption? Is it Xbox? You literally asked that same fucking question, man.
He's like, man, I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah, like I want to hear
it. I didn't listen to that show.
Yeah, man. We literally answered that fucking question. You know? So yeah, TikTok, if you want to ask another one, anybody.
I'll answer it. Just to vamp.
Sure. So yeah, was it just Xbox sites that boosted Red Dead Redemption Metacritic?
Oh no.
That was the heart of the question, by the way. That was the question. Basically, he's asking, okay, if God of War won more Game of the Year nominations, well, actually just one more Game of the Year period, why did Red Dead Redemption get a higher Metacritic? Is it because Xbox fan sites boosted up the score? That was his question. But again, we answered this shit like a month ago.
Okay, that's actually interesting. I wouldn't say yes, but I would say that they did have part of a thing to play in the score itself. So it's like a partial yes.
But why? Like it's got Red Dead Redemption. It's not exclusive to Xbox. You know.
Maybe just Xbox guys enjoyed it more because they had nothing else to play. They had no like comparison to, like play with. You know.
Yeah, Carlos, did we miss one of this guy's questions?
What happened?
Did we miss one of this guy's questions?
Who, Glorious War?
Yeah, he says that. See, what I was looking at is your message from literally, the last time we talked.
Yeah, that the why did God of War win the majority?
My bad, Glorious War. Okay, so
that was from Sunday, January 6th.
Yeah, so he says that he asked another question. I guess we both missed it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. Time to scroll up.
Maybe is it from the known sources? Apparently, Sony has some unannounced games based on existing games coming out for PS4. What do you think they are?
That's a question. I don't know. By the way,
and even if he did, he wouldn't be able to say.
Yeah, no, I literally don't. By the way, don't get me wrong. If you guys feel free to ask this, I do not like those type of questions. I'm like, I don't fucking know.
Speculation.
I don't. You know me. I don't like to speculate.
Unless you have a good amount of.
I need information. I have no information. I have absolutely. Okay, here's the thing. How do I do this without seeming like an asshole? I don't know how to do it. Somebody's going to fucking do it. There's too many gaming podcasts out there that just speculate all fucking day. I can't stand that shit. All fucking day. Speculation. Or wishing. Oh, I wish this would happen. I wish that would happen. We're above that on Throwdown, man.
Shit.
Actually, I'm keeping it real right now. A lot of Xbox podcasts do that shit. You listen to them, all they do all fucking day. Microsoft needs to do this. Oh, I wish they would do that. Oh, they need to do this. And it's like, stop talking about what they need to do, man. All fucking day with that shit, It's like podcasts that are just wish lists, Or
well,
imagine if Xbox did this. Imagine if Xbox did. Imagine if they did this. Like, how does that benefit your audience? They want information. They want thorough analysis. They want some deep thoughts. That's some dumb shit, Man, you could tell I was holding that shit in my chest, son.
Tell us
Damn.
how you really feel.
Tell us how you really feel, man.
Yeah. We don't play that shit on Throwdown, man.
Since we're on some deep thought stuff, how about this? Do you think that at the start of next gen we'll get many remastered games or not?
Good question. Here's what makes that tricky, Brian, because I feel, man, sounds like some dumb stuff. I believe that the next gen systems, with the exception of Nintendo, are going to be backwards compatible. So if that's the case, how would you okay, we all know motherfuckers will buy games again. So how does the industry milk that? You know what I'm saying? How do you do that?
I know exactly how they do it.
How?
They like, how there's Xbox One X enhanced games.
Yeah.
So they'll start charging for that kind of stuff.
Oh, you think so? Ooh, I think people will get angry about that, dude.
Yeah, I think that would backfire.
Yeah, that'll backfire.
Yeah,
think about it, because buy it for PlayStation 5 for $70. That's not gonna fly.
It's
that
like,
flying.
Do you want to get the 4K texture pack for Red Dead Redemption on your Sony
that shit's gonna
PlayStation?
backfire. That's gonna backfire hard.
But the funny thing is that Microsoft already gives you the
That's why I said Sony PlayStation. Yeah, because
exactly.
I was thinking of an example. I said, okay, Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'm like, oh shit, but that's on the Xbox One X, PlayStation.
Yeah. Brian, I think your question should be, how will they be able to sell you the same game over again? They're gonna do it. It's just, how are they gonna do it?
Yeah, that's sort of like the double-edged sword, because back like PS3 to PS4, there wasn't any backwards compatibility, but that's why they were able to charge us all that for those remasters and shit.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much how they sold the generation to start.
Yeah, pretty much. By the way, this question leads into what we're talking about now. He goes, "Are we going to get remakes for Jack and Daxter and Ape Escape? Who knows?"
Oh, I hope so.
I don't know. I don't know about Ape Escape. That's a little
Isn't
bit of a
that
deep
Konami?
cut.
That's Konami.
No, it's not. It's actually a Sony one.
You have a higher. Oh, really? Interesting. Yeah. Okay, I don't know. I don't have enough information to answer that. That goes back to see if this was one of those low tier podcasts. Oh yeah, sure, they're gonna do it. It's like, we don't know.
Yeah, Ape Escape is definitely down the totem pole of those kinds of games, like Spyro and fucking Crash Bandicoot and all those games. Like Ape Escape. Well,
if they're seeing that these games are, they can get new life. Essentially, we're getting remakes of a PlayStation 2 era now.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a possibility, but I'm not sure about Ape Escape. Ape Escape was a decent series, but it never was really that big.
No, that's the game about monkeys.
Yeah, that's the one where you slap the monkeys on.
I know what I know about Ape Escape because of Metal Gear Solid 3. That's how I know about it.
Yeah, because they had the Snake versus. Yeah, that game was. In general, they had because they had a deal with Sony. That's why they did it. Where it's like it's half Ape Escape. The Ape Escape that came around the same time also had something, had some sort of, connection to them.
This is interesting. See, you guys are free to speculate all you want, and we'll read them. Fanavast says, if I had to guess, it would be a new Ratchet and Clank from Insomniac and Demon Souls remake from Blue Point Games. I know Chris would like that shit.
They're saying Blue Point. They said Blue Point Games says they're making something on the level of the next remake is something on the level but bigger than Shadow of the Colossus. Now, what could that be?
That's a good point.
Don't know. Could it be a Sony franchise that they're doing? Like, are they gonna go through there, or are they doing something like this? I would say the thing that would be the thing that everybody would probably want to see is a nice and shiny version of Metal Gear Solid 1. Now, how would you do that?
Would Konami allow that? By the way, this is the word I should have used earlier with regard to Shadow of the Colossus. It is a remake, obviously, but to me, that's more of a restoration. That's how I see that game. It's a restoration. Resident Evil 2, that's a remake, full-on remake,
Yeah, I mean, the Shadow of the Colossus is essentially, it's such a weird sort of idea, or it's like, it's the old game just running with controlling a new veneer on top of it.
Yeah, like I kind of see it like, just as an example, you take like an old ship and stuff, made out of wood and all that, and you restore it. You put new wood and all this other shit in it. Still the same ship. It still has the same, I forget the name of it, but there's still like a log in the middle of a ship that pretty much makes it the ship. Like, you just work around that You know, restore it. You know, that's what Shadow Colossus is. You know,
It's like they took the what is it, the structure of it
Yes.
underneath it. So with all this, the original ship, the original groundwork of the ship is still there, but the outside of it is all new and shiny. It still has the same engine. It's still running with the same engine. You know, it's still moving the damn thing.
Meanwhile, Resident Evil 2 is like the new Titanic they're making. That shit ain't got nothing to do with the original. It's like, okay, we're gonna make it in the spirit of the original one.
Yeah, it has a helipad now.
Yeah, exactly. And this motherfucker ain't gonna sink. Don't say that, by the way. If you say your ship ain't gonna sink, it's gonna fucking sink. You know. But then again, we don't have icebergs anymore, so we're good. You know. Thank you, global warming. All right. I think we're done for the night, man. Another good episode. This is one of those episodes where I was kind of worried, like, are we gonna have enough time to fill this shit? But we done did it.
One question.
But before that, because Brett wasn't here, I'm just saying, man, because my man talks. You know. Go ahead, Brian. What's your question?
Okay,
Throw down your question, man.
This is actually quite related. Okay, since that Monster Hunter seems to be doing like lots of crossovers where characters and costumes like jump over from like their games to Monster Hunter World, what characters would you like to see in there? Because we already had like Aloe's character, we had Devil May Cry in there, we've had Geralt of Rivia in there, and all sorts. Like what else do you think that they can or they should throw in there just for the fun of it now?
Hey, Brian.
Oh.
We answered that question before.
Really?
Yeah, one of the fans asked us what other characters we want to see in Monster Hunter. But here's the thing: you asked it a little different way. They said what other Capcom characters do we want? That was the question.
This is
you
other franchises.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I think you said it right there. Geralt would be good because he is a monster hunter. That's literally what he does.
He is coming in.
What?
Yeah.
You ain't paying attention?
No, I was not. I'm too busy playing Resident Evil, man. Chris, did you know about that shit?
No, I that's why I'm shocked.
Excuse me?
I'm certain it is.
All right, look that up.
Just confirm it.
Yeah, Fan of Vash, he already knows, man. Fan of Vash tells us, please. Yeah, because Gerald is literally a monster hunter. No, that would be cool.
I'm a monster hunter.
Yeah, there you go. Fan of Vash. If he says it, then there you go. Yeah, he said it, like Brian said, it was confirmed last year. I had no idea. That's fucking awesome.
Now you want to play Geralt.
It was at the tail end last year, though. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So by last year, you literally mean 3 weeks ago. Oh man. What other characters?
They didn't put Kratos in there, did they?
No. Get Hayabusa. He'd be good in there. You know, get him in there.
He's a monster hunter too.
No, yeah, he is actually. He's a demon hunter mostly, but yeah, that works. Hayabusa. I'm thinking more about melee guys with weapons. You know.
Yeah, the people that would fit well in there.
Yeah. Kratos, I don't know if he would fit in there. Like, what weapons could he have that conform to Monster Hunter weapons?
Well, I mean, come on. He does have an axe.
Oh, the giant sword. I guess that could work. Yeah.
Yeah, you could put the freaking Sword of Olympus in there.
The Blade of Olympus.
Yeah. There you go.
Tony, the Blades of Chaos.
No, but there is no equivalent weapon like that in Monster Hunter.
There is actually. You know how like they have those two rapiers.
I guess.
So they have like two swords or something, right?
Yeah, they have two swords in each hand.
Yeah, but the thing is with the Blades of Chaos, there are two things. There are swords in two hands, and then there are whips. You know.
I don't think the whip part will probably work in.
That's what I'm saying.
I think they'll just give. If anything, they'll put two little things in their hands.
I guess. Yeah.
You could throw Aloy in there, and she's a bow and arrow,
right?
Well,
yeah. Well, they had her already. You know.
Oh, they had her.
Yeah.
Remember you had the little palico thing, and you could get her bow and stuff.
Yeah, Aloy was one of the first. She was announced before the game even came out.
That's right.
You know. Yeah. I'll go with Hayabusa. That's my answer because I can't think of anything right in my mind blanking.
I said Gears of War people. Like again,
they do have guns. They do have guns in the game.
Like a heavy weapon in there as like their weapon.
Yeah, the game does have guns.
Remember there are they can have non-Sony properties. It's not a Sony.
Oh, yeah, well, this is just for fun. But yeah, because I'm just coming at it like, okay, what character has weapons that are already in Monster Hunter? Gears of War, they do have guns in the game, kind of. You know, so yeah, that works. And they're heavy fucking guns too.
Put Raiden in there.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Zero Suit Samus for some TNA. You're crazy, Glorious War. Yeah, like her weapon doesn't really have an equivalent in the game, though.
No, I mean it probably would have to be one of the guns because they've gotten pretty creative on like when they make those alternate outfits, those alternate suits. They've been able to make the the alternate versions of those weapons kind of work.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it's always within what they're thinking. So they'd probably have to be one of their guns, then just kind of rejiggered around.
Yeah, because it has to be within the framework of Monster Hunters.
MT framework?
Yes, that's right. All right, man, I'm going to end the show. So thank you. This was a good episode, man. It turned out better than I was hoping. So that's good. All right, so thank you for watching and listening. Leave us your questions in the comment section of this episode on YouTube or over on the Coalition, and we'll answer them on next week's show. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Follow us on Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook at Throwdown Show. Links are located in the description below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco, and time joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you later, guys.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Jesus, everyone.
You should have waited like 5 seconds, too. And Brian Manjoma.
I did have one last question, but it's not appropriate.
Uh-oh. After the show, man. After the show.
Yeah, after the show.
Yes,
Yeah.
Brian, I've seen Moonlight.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to everybody in the chat right now. Glad you guys enjoyed it too. Shingoku with all the Torrance heads. Every time I see that shit cracks me up, man. Fucking hilarious. Oh,
we gotta keep it alive, man. He's closing the shop down.
It's crazy. Yeah, episode 400 of Warzones this year. It's over. All right, man.
we should make it a point to show up on that episode.
Yeah, we should. By the way, now I have a new goal. Okay, before we end, when we first started on SCFU and Play, right? My first goal was like, okay, we got to have more episodes than the Minority Report. We beat them, right? Like, okay, we got to have more episodes than the tech show that fucking Dirty Bird had. We beat them, And
more
now,
episodes than the Fan Zone.
And yeah, that shit don't count, man. So now that Torrance is gonna end the Word Zone, now my goal is to surpass him on Throwdown, and we will do that in 2022. That's when episode 400 is gonna air. I did the math. If we keep doing what we're doing, the second week of September will be at episode 401. So that's when we would have been the War Zone. So that's my new goal now. It's gonna be crazy. Think about it. We're gonna hit 250 this year in 2019. 300 2020, 350 2021, 400 in 2022. So it's gonna happen. It's gonna be crazy. And we're gonna have Torrance on every single centennial, basically. It's gonna be crazy. Anyway, I'm back. Excuse me. All right, guys. We'll see you on Thursday for Throwdown episode 219. Later,
guys.
Peace. We gotta have something.